Hello and welcome to the 2006 Magic the Gathering World Championships. I'm Randy Bueller. I'm here with Brian David Marshall, and it is time for the finals. There will be another Japanese world champion. The Japanese are going to go back-to-back. The question left to figure out, will it be Ryu Ogura or will it be Makihito Mihara? Ogura on the left of your screen, competing in his second World's Top 8. He's piloting a blue-white Triskelevis Urzatron deck built by last year's world champion Katsuhiro Mori. His opponent in this match is Makihito Mihara. Mihara piloting Dragonstorm, and he has won a couple of thrilling 3-2 victories, top-decking to win Game 5 in both the quarterfinals and the semifinals. He is on fire.
Spirit-crushing victories.
Yeah. Ogura mulliganed once before this first game, and they are off to the races and underway. A couple pieces of the Urzatron for Ogura, a Lotus Bloom ticking down for Mihara.
So just a quick note, Jester Scepter costs 3 to cast, not 4.
Okay.
And we were talking about that in the pre-wrap-up for this. Lotus Bloom hits
All right,
play.
Lotus Bloom resolves. This is usually a sign the Dragonstorm player wants to go off. I mean, they try to time it so you get the Storm.
Ogura has no resistance. He has 3 non-blue colorless lands in play.
Was that a Vesuva?
That is looks like an Academy Runes and 2
Yeah, with no blue
Urzarparks.
mana, you just go for it, right?
Game, if he has anything here, it's...
I mean, Ogura's threats are permission spells, and he has no blue mana, so just a question of whether Mihara can piece together the combo. I mean, it's not flying out of his hand, so seems to require at least a little bit of math.
He may be taking a little more time with his decisions at this point. He came close to...
Well, there's Rite of Flame. There's...
He just put out a
hard cast Bogren and Hellkite.
We've seen him do that multiple times in this top 8.
Yeah, it seems like a reasonable plan. Force your opponent to deal with a 5-5. See if he can, and then while they're busy dealing with a 5-5, you're piecing together the next bit. Ogura missed a land drop. He's got nothing. He's got no colored mana at all.
Got multiple...
Handful of permission and card drawing spells, and a Face Fetters that could potentially deal with that dragon. But he needs white mana, and he needs it in a hurry. And meanwhile, Mihara is just loading up for next time. Another piece of the Urzatron for Ryo Ogura. Drops it. Got one draw phase left. Mihara may be able to finish him off here. I see Seething Song and Dragonstorm in his hand. He knows the deck list. He knows his opponent can't do anything. He just attack for 5 and storm out another Hellkite, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess he's 1 mana short. No white mana for Ryo Ogura, so wow. No white, no blue, no action.
No problem for Mihara.
Makihito Mihara just hard cast Bogren and Hellkite, and that was good enough to get the job done. 3 attacks and 1 187 triggered ability. And we've got a 1-0 lead for Makihito Mihara.
It's interesting watching Mihara play. I mean, a lot of players have, talked about Dragonstorm. You end up putting all your eggs in one basket. If someone, people are playing Wrath because it's so good against the Dragonstorm deck. Mihara seems to have adapted his play style to the Wrath of God scenario.
It's true. It's a good point. He's playing the deck, very differently. I'm just used to seeing this deck just go for it. And no, he's like... I could Dragonstorm now, but why?
You have to deal with this dragon in
5/5
fairly
flyer.
short order. And again, dragon backed up by Remand is a pretty quick game. I mean, even if Ogura had a Plains there for the Faith Fetters that were in his hand,
right?
There was a Remand in Mihara's hand.
And a Dragonstorm. Yeah, pretty interesting strategy for the Dragonstorm player. I like it.
Yeah, he's like, deal with my first threat, I'll build up my hand, and then I'll try to kill you when you're done. When you've wrathed me, when you've faith fettered me, whatever it is you're going to do, I have a second team that's going to come out and take the field. So let's see, I wonder if we can find out a little bit about how they're sideboarding. I'm curious if Ogura's bringing in the Scepters. He's certainly bringing in the COP Reds and the extra Wrath. Does he bring in Annex? Mihara He doesn't have to bring in his trick bind for this game. It was an exciting.
It was useful in the semis against Gabe Nassif.
Yeah, it was an exciting. He's certainly not going to bring in Pyroclasm. Probably not going to bring in. I don't know. Maybe he brings in his own Teferi, just as a way to get through Teferi. A card that was really interesting this weekend, I also saw Kai playing this in his Dragonstorm deck, just out of the sideboard, is protecting his hand was Ignorant Bliss.
Huh.
It was an exciting card, just put your hand away, get an extra, trade it for a card, I believe, on the next upkeep. Right, I believe it's a slow trip.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. So, you just a quick little duck of hand destruction. Not something that's going to become relevant in this match. What's also kind of interesting, his sideboard has 2 more lands.
Interesting.
So it sounds like Ogura did bring in the Scepters and the Circle of Protection red.
I think he's got 1 trick bind as well. Our list is wrong. It's a typo.
Sounds like the Triskelevises are out of the deck.
Really?
Yeah, sounds like the Triskelevises are out of the deck to make room for the Scepter. So maybe his plan is to deck Mihara. Because again, 3 Scepters represents 15 cards.
Factory.
And Urza's Factory. But the three Scepters represent 15 cards.
Potentially.
And if he can, again, there's only 7 relevant cards that he has to worry about from Mihara. There are,
4 Bogart and Elk.
In terms of real, you parlay the Dragonstorm into, 4 of them sometimes.
Right.
But he has to worry about the 4 Hellkites, the 2 Hunted Dragons, and the Teferi. So, interesting to see. I wonder if he has 3 lands in his sideboard. That's amazing. How many lands is he playing in his main deck? He's playing 2, 10, 18, 22 lands. The 4 Lotus Blooms, he has the ability to go up to 25 lands.
I've always been a big fan of playing in the sideboard. They're just matchups where you want more.
Right. I just think that's very interesting. We've talked a lot about in the past about Japanese decks, how they tend to have this sort of transformative quality.
True.
And this is a little more subtle than some of the sideboards we've seen in the past, but the ability to transform in terms of the number of lands that you need to operate your deck, or how long or short you feel the game is going to go.
Right.
Yeah, that's a fairly sophisticated sideboarding strategy. All right, three lands in the sideboard is quite a bit.
Yeah.
And they're all storage lands, so I wonder what specific purpose he has for those. I would definitely like to ask him about that after the match. Forums are back up.
So if you're Makihito Mihara's friends right now, you're trying to figure out where the nearest casino is, right? Is it Monte Carlo?
Just drag him there?
I think so. Put him right on the craps table. Let him go.
Osawa's waiting outside the room, ready to go. He's got his bag packed. Train ticket purchased.
I mean, you can have another 40 grand to spend too, right? If he wins this thing. I mean, I joke about it. He's obviously had a couple of lucky top decks, but at the same time, I really think that in both occasions, it required a lot of setup on his part.
Absolutely.
Like he played in the quarterfinals, he had to find the scenario. Turns out, he had to find the scenario to give himself a chance to win, and then lo and behold, okay, he set it up, the repeal, I have to draw this card. Oh, my God, there it is.
Right.
He clearly deserves some credit for that, even though at the same time he also clearly got very lucky. And in the semifinals, the same way. He actually worked his ass off to set that situation up against Gabriel Nassif.
Absolutely. And we talked a lot about Nassif's mental game and his ability to influence his opponent's decisions through the cards he plays and his body demeanor. And Mihara
no, I think Mihara
beat
totally
Nassif at his own game there, which is very impressive and speaks
really
boatloads about